when it comes to black leadership, we are our own worst enemies. We reject it outright. We fight against it. We want to be the leader. And even if we don't want to be the leader, we'd rather there be an absence of leadership to enable or facilitate the stagnation that we've currently faced.
How well is Florida's African-American community being served by today's leaders? Leadership should produce real progress, stronger schools, better economic opportunity, and safer neighborhoods. Join us as we look at the facts, test assumptions, and focus on practical solutions. Tune in to Let's Talk Nation USA on Facebook Live this Monday at 7 p.m. Subscribe for updates. Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Love, and we have the Doc Polite co-hosting tonight, and the General, Attorney Greg Jackson, is on special assignment, so he'll be back with us next week. But here's what I want to lay on everybody tonight. And Doc, I'm going to go ahead, man, and try this monologue real quick. Tonight, we ask a blunt question. How well is Florida's African-American community being served by today's leaders? Not the speeches, not the promises. Real service is measured by classrooms that work, jobs that pay, and streets where our children can play without fear. Leadership should translate into results. Higher graduation rates, real opportunities build wealth, and safer neighborhoods. If it's not then in those words, it's just a lot of noise. So tonight we're here to ask the question. We're not here to cheer or to shame anybody, but what we're here to do is we're here to examine, to challenge, and demand answers. We'll look at the facts. We'll hold up policies to the light and separate what helps from what only sounds good at the podium. Ask yourself, where are the wins? And like young people say, who's getting the bags nowadays? Which programs are providing measurable outcomes? Who's benefiting from opportunities? Who's being lifted and who's being left behind? And most importantly, what leaders are actually doing to build the next generation of community leaders and entrepreneurs. This isn't about casting blame. It's about accountability and action. We need leaders who secure budgets, pass policy, and build pipelines, not just headlines. Tonight, we'll speak with a Florida House of Representatives that I will say he puts in the work. We'll examine areas of the state where Black leadership has been successful in mobilizing and being effective in their communities. And when I say communities, I'm not just talking about social services. We're talking about building wealth as well. So listen up. We welcome you to dial into the show, speak up, and join this conversation. If you care about your communities, if you care about stronger schools, if you care about advancing economically, we want you to join this conversation, call in, and just let us know what your feelings are wherever you're at in the entire state of Florida or outside of Florida. We want to hear from you. So with that being the case, and Doc, if you would run that phone number across the screen, but I'll say it for those who might just be listening to this show tonight. The area code is area code 407-921-6195. And with that, I'm pleased to say, welcome to Let's Talk Nation.
Hey, you ain't gonna say let's get it on?
What's that?
I said you ain't gonna say let's get it on?
Let's get it on then.
All right. I miss our he turned it into the sidekick. I used to be the sidekick. I guess he's the sidekick now.
You talking about the general?
Yeah.
Hey man, the general's out there, man, knocking them down, man.
Some side assignments and stuff.
Them special assignments get them more, but he's out there knocking them down. And for those of you who are not familiar, Attorney Greg Jackson is a personal injury attorney. So business has been good. Let me just say that. He is doing some work out there. So we miss him, but we know it's all for the good. So Doc, man, you know, this conversation tonight, and you know, we got calls, we got emails, we got some texts, just on the promo of the show when it talks about what's actually happening with leadership in the state of Florida, and in particular, leadership that impacts Black communities. And so,
you know, when we were talking about doing show prep and stuff. And I told you I've become reluctant, really, to frame this kind of stuff, because you get to sounding like a broken record, especially when you have been in a position to observe this, not just from a current event aspect, but from a historical, longitudinal look at this. And I told you the story about my cousin Tim running for office in the 70s and running for office in the 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't making light of that. What I was showing was, and I told him this, you don't know when to stop. Mm. You're still trying to be relevant instead of teaching. There's a point in any progress, any organization, where a seasoned worker teaches those apprentices.
And that builds into, building the bench too, Doc. I mean, when we talk about leadership, and some people say, well, why are you talking about Black leadership?
Well, we Black.
Yeah.
And so that's our community is our first concern.
And you're right. And Doc, here's the thing, man, that I have a major problem with, and I'm glad Hispanic people are proud, and they'll talk about Latino leadership in a minute. White people got to be proud of leadership. Why can't Black folk articulate that as well? But to me, Doc, I'm gonna just say from my perspective, it should go all to the greater good. But why is it that when we look up, we still see the Black community continuously deteriorating?
Because as they said in that promo section, that guy articulated the message well. We don't want each others to be leaders a lot of times. And when he was saying that, what he was framing that as, even if you don't want to be the leader, you don't want me to be the leader. You don't want to follow.
Yeah.
You don't want to follow.
And that's shameful, Doc. That's shameful.
Well, here it is. We've morphed into a community of grievance. We're not a community of progress. We're a community of grievance.
Okay, but with that being the case, Doc, think about this. You have the Hispanic caucus. You got the Black caucus, and these are political. I mean, whether it's state, whether it's local government, the League of Cities, I don't care what it is. Doc, when you come together, I would think, you got the League of Cities, I would think that you would be having conversation about best practices. Here's something that I've observed, and I'll say this to you, and you and I had this conversation. I look, and I've had the opportunity and been blessed in certain capacities that I've been in before.
Yeah.
That had me traveling all over the state of Florida, working with elected leadership across the board. And man, I got to tell you, when you talk about mobilizing, that's one of the things I'm speaking personally. I think that's one of the problems that the Black community has beyond anything else, its ability to come together and mobilize for a cause. But boy, if you look at St. Petersburg, St. Petersburg, those Black folk in St. Petersburg, they have proven, man, how they can come together, mobilize for causes in those communities, and those causes create policy. Those policies create a lasting legacy effect that transcends beyond personalities.
Well, they got a plan. They're not running on hope.
But we got a special guest that's going to be dialing in here around 7:15. And when you say they have a plan, Doc, what is that thing Mike Tyson says often about, boxers who had a plan when they were boxing him and jumping in the ring?
You say everybody got a plan till they get punched in the mouth.
And so I'm not going to go that far, Doc, but I am going to say to you, and I've been engaged in it, and if I have to take some responsibility for it, I will. But Doc, and sometimes you have to be critical to get the effects that you're looking for. But man, Jacksonville, I've seen how Black folk in Jacksonville mobilizes when there's causes. St. Petersburg, even though I'm from Miami, I'm not too familiar with the aggressiveness and the effectiveness in Miami. But Doc, I've been able to see it, so I know it can be done. But then I'm sitting here in Central Florida, in Orlando, in Orange County.
Well, Rod, I'm going to give y'all a nugget. I served 10 years in the military, right? And one of the things that I am more prouder of my military service than any other thing that I've accomplished. And you know my resume, I've been busy. But more than anything, I am proud of that military service. I don't care what people feel. I don't care what people say about the military and all of that. I will forever be grateful for having had the opportunity to serve. Why? Because the military discipline and the framework that shaped me in my formative years has set the course for the rest of my life. And because of that, I've been able to greatly benefit by being a discipline focused person. And let me tell you what the military says the definition of leadership is. The U.S. military defines leadership as the process of influencing people by providing purpose, direction, motivation to accomplish the mission and improve the organization. Now, if we take that and apply it as a metric on top of this, where are we hitting any of those? And that's it in a nexus. See, right? You can't accomplish anything if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a direction, if you don't know what the end goal is. All you're doing, like Don Miller say, marching around in the darkness serves no purpose.
Now you brought up Don Miller. I got to give Don credit, man. Don will call balls and strikes.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for a long time now, man. So you're absolutely right. And what is that Don says, Doc?
It is marching around in the darkness serves no purpose. And literally what it means, my interpretation of it is, you don't know where you're going or where you at. You just walking around. You don't even know you lost. Because you can't see nothing.
Since you bring Don's name up, man, we might as well go ahead and get a Don Miller show a plug. I think Don Miller's on every Thursday night. From 7 to 8 or from 8 on. I can't remember exactly which, but you bring Don up, I wouldn't do justice without giving him a plug, man. Don is really when there's something to talk about, whether it's taking place locally or nationally, man, Don is on it.
Exactly. And the amazing thing about it is people feel Black Don attacks Black people. I don't feel that. I feel that Don Miller is a voice of dissent that's not going to go along to get along.
When I think about Don, think about this. When I think about Don, think about this. You know how people say Malcolm needed MLK, like MLK needed Malcolm. So Don is the same way. If Don's voice wasn't out there, you wouldn't have a lot of folk that's shuffling around trying to handle their business.
And see, and that's what I mean when I say about we become a community of grievance. All we do is go around and complain about we don't have this, we don't have that. And we're not doing anything to self-actualize. And that doesn't mean that you have to do it all. What it means is You have a plan to get yourself there. You take some action. Control what you can.
Control what you can, but Doc, I'm gonna pull this all in because our special guest is gonna be chiming in. At the end of the day, Doc, I guess some of the questions to ask: are our leaders sufficiently armed with the art of negotiating and compromising so that they can impact their communities like they need to?
No.
So then, if the answer is no to that question,
okay. Now let you want me to qualify it?
Well, you're gonna qualify, but our guest gonna be on it. You gotta hit on it. You gotta. I mean, for real, you gotta hit it quick.
And here's the thing: when you see your representative on the television, and the first thing is out their mouth is how the other side won't.
I get your point. Yeah. So Doc,
okay. How often have you heard? Now you're a Republican. Everybody know that, right? You're a Republican. I'm a Democrat. We get along. Okay? And what have I said to you? I said this to you. Democrats think Republicans won't listen to them, but how do they know if they never went and talked to them?
You're absolutely correct. But Doc, party affiliations are what they are. If you ask me, do I see the need in communities, and then you want to go ahead and let's microscopically look at what the need is, we can agree to sit down and identify what the need is. Now, the second phase of that is how do we address that need? My perspective is let's teach individuals how to survive. Let's teach people how to arm themselves with the knowledge that they need so that they can provide for themselves. And so,
we can't teach people. We can present them with the opportunity to learn how to survive for themselves.
See, you hit me with cliches. You're talking about you can lead a horse to water.
No, because you got to understand, change is an internal event.
I don't disagree with you.
Change is an internal event. If you don't want it, no matter how much pressure I apply to you, you're not going to receive it. See, we say let's go out and give job training to Jim instead of him hanging under that tree all day every day. Let's get Jim in a welding program. But we don't know that Jim need a reading program first.
But Doc, I go back to what you said the first time. You gotta want it, and just the example that you're placing, I'll say this: myself and an elected official some years back got Career Source to identify approximately 15 scholarships for certification in a trade.
Mm-hmm.
We were overjoyed that we got these scholarships for 15 individuals, but lo and behold, it was like pulling teeth to get these individuals to go to the trade. I mean, having to knock on doors because the trade center say folk wasn't showing up. So you gotta want it.
Listen. One of my alma maters is Columbia College, and I was active in the alumni when I lived in Orlando, an active alumni. And I had went to the dean, and he's not there anymore, Johnson. And he agreed to give me 100 scholarships for the first year to attend. They would waive all fees for that first year for 100 Black men to start college. You know how many I got?
How many?
3. This is after telling other people who had nonprofits, who had organizations, and telling them about it. Hey, if you got people that want to attend college or school, put them in contact with me, and I'll help them go through the registration process and everything. They won't have to pay for it for the first year. Don't even worry about Pell Grant financial aid. Okay, this was an opportunity. Yet we turned around and got 3 people in that whole first year, and I was out hustling.
So it comes back to what you were saying is you got to want it for yourself. And Doc, everybody, I mean, I hate to say it, but everybody is not going to get that bag because everybody don't show the energy to go after it. Doc, I realize that our special guest is with us this evening. Or can you bring him up on the screen? Hey, we have, and Armando, I'm going to wait for those applause, Armando, because we have none other than representative of District 41. I think I got 41 right. And that's none other than Representative Bruce Anton. Thank you for joining Let's Talk Nation tonight.
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you great. We can hear you very well. Hey,
All right.
My co-host this evening is Doc Polite. Doc, you're familiar with Rep, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Mr. Quietly getting it done.
Yeah, Mr. Quietly. Yeah, hey, Rep.
Yeah, you know I had to tease you about that.
Hey, we appreciate you joining us. Hey, because Doc, really, and I wasn't planning on doing this, but Representative Bruce Anton, and if you could speak to this, because I know you could articulate it far better than me, but in one of your sessions, didn't you get a portion of one of the highways named? Was it Tuskegee or what was it, Rep?
It was a portion of Interstate 10, named the designated as the Tuskegee Air Memorial Highway, and so 2-3-mile portion of Interstate 10 from Alabama to the I-10, I-75 exit in Lake City.
Hey, so Doc, that's not quietly getting it done.
Yeah, I know. I tease him about that, but you know, one thing I've always admired about Bruce, he understands politics.
Yeah.
And many people don't in our community. They don't understand reaching across the aisle. They don't understand building based on shared interests. They won't do it. They think that the minute you talk to a Republican or someone outside their party, you're a sellout.
Yeah.
And that's some very dysfunctional and harmful thinking for a leader to have.
Yeah,
you can't just put yourself in a box.
Yeah, you're right.
Why limit yourself?
Well, negotiation and compromise. And Doc, did we lose Rep?
Yeah, we lost him. Hopefully he'll call back in.
Okay.
Mondo, get Mondo on that. And he probably have to find another spot. He was having a problem with his Wi-Fi, I could tell.
Okay. But you're absolutely right, Doc. I mean, it's about not compromising your principles, but going across the aisle, man, and negotiating so that you can actually.
Rod, how you gonna have some damn principles and you ain't got a damn thing? you know. I mean, really, you have. Well, I ain't gonna do this. I ain't gonna do that. I won't accept this. But you're impoverished. You're basically impoverished, and you got nothing.
But that's what I like to hear from Representative Anton. You know, I like to hear him talk about going across the aisles and negotiating and compromising so that he can actually impact his district.
But let me try to get him up here. You're not connecting. So Armando, I know you're monitoring the broadcast. See if you can try to get a hold of him and tell him to move near a reliable connection for that internet where he at. You know, again, we apologize. Representative Anton is in session. He just popped in to do us this favor, and we really appreciate his effort because you need to hear what he has to say. We really do.
And the important thing is that they're in legislative session now, and so
yeah.
we're to see what's taking place. You know, in the session now, what are the priorities?
Yeah, and a lot of times there are things that I know this. There are things that benefit all the Floridians, but many Black elected officials won't frame that benefit because it comes from somewhere else. And if if I'm a Floridian, it's important to me to know what I'm getting as a Floridian. I don't care whose side of the aisle is doing it.
You're right. You're right.
But I got to say the other side of the aisle does not do a good job either of telling and informing. Okay, he's back.
Yeah, we can see. Hey, Rep, here's the question for you, Rep. And we were just talking about the legislative session. There's an art to you negotiating and compromising across the aisle. Tell us, what is the art of it and how do you do that?
For me, it is forming the friendship and the relationship with my colleagues before I need them. So,
that's simple.
Yeah. You spend time getting to know them, ask about their kids and their wife and their parents and, their travel and all that stuff. And so when it's time to sit down and talk about legislation at hand or request for funding, you already have gotten past that hurdle. And so they either say, I like
And Doc, you heard what he just said. You don't wait. Yeah. You don't wait to make a relationship. You maintain and foster that relationship. So Rep, what are some of the priorities in Tallahassee right now during this legislative session?
I think we dropped them again.
Oh, we dropped them?
Yeah.
Hey, but he
froze. And that's what we gotta think about. Don't wait. It's like your neighbor, right? Don't wait till your neighbor. Let's get him back. Go ahead, Representative Anton. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Your signal's breaking up. Your Wi-Fi connection is
yeah. We need to get you near some Wi-Fi. So but yeah, Rod. Now, I'm not a fanboy. I'm not a Rod fanboy. Rod is my friend.
Automobile insurance. But just keeping folks at bay. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
there you go.
So the real issue that we are hoping for is reducing the cost of property insurance, not reducing property taxes or eliminating property taxes, but reducing insurance, reducing the cost of automobile insurance. And just last week, the Florida Attorney General did a 14-page opinion that he commissioned himself to eliminate statutes. These are discriminatory, cause harm to other folks. So he removed all these statutes, which is contracting for minority businesses, appointments to some of the boards like the Expressway Authority, the Fair Board, stuff like that. The Office of Minority Health, which focuses on making sure that Black folks have access to health care and that they're aware of the diseases that disproportionately affect. So those are kind of the three priorities. But right now, man, it's just all over the place.
And y'all in your third, is this the third week?
Yeah, this is the beginning of the third week. We started March 12th. We started January 12th or January 13th. But this is the third of 9 weeks.
Man. So Rep, as you navigate and you look at advocating for your district, we know it's challenging, but one of my biggest criticism is, how do we come out with wins for districts that affect and impact the Black community? And I don't mean just social service. I'm also talking about economic development.
Well, that economic development thing is a whole nother animal and a whole nother elephant that's in the room that I don't think we have any immediate answers for. And I know that ain't the right answer, but that is the answer. I mean, again, we have to try to focus on getting funding for infrastructure in our communities, whether it's replacing septic tanks with sewer systems, road widening, even water system replacements. That's kind of stuff we focus on as Black legislators. Of course, we have to try to get money for senior citizen programs, programs to give the seniors something to do. Like in my district, more than half of the district, half of the people in my district are over the age of 50. And so a lot of them are single people. So one of the things I'm focusing on is trying to get $2 million for Guardian Care nursing home, which is right there on John Young Parkway and Church Street, because our people need an affordable place to go for senior care. And then the other thing is always just focusing on after school programs for kids, programs, programs, stuff that they do that. So am I answering your question?
You're definitely answering the questions. And Rep, let me ask you this question. When you're up in Tallahassee, you're one of what, 120 or 140? I can't remember.
I'm one of 120 in the House of Representatives. There are 40 senators, so I'm actually one of 160.
Oh yeah. I forgot about this. You got the House and the Senate. So, Rep, what are some of the things that the local community can do to support you as you advocate during the session?
First thing they can do is pick up the phone and call the governor's office. They can call the speaker's office. They can call the Senate president. They can call the appropriation chair, but they got to call the folks that's in control of the money and who's in control of making sure that certain things get on agendas for committees.
And Rep,
like the email, I'm old-fashioned. Go ahead.
Okay, well, and that's good to let people know that they need to get on the phone and call the governor's office, call the I don't know if it's the Senate president or the Speaker of the House. I don't know the other conduits of that process. But here's something you said earlier about having a high concentration of senior citizens in your district. Well, one of the things that is glaring right now across the country is how we have elected officials, white, Black, Hispanic, you name it, that are sitting in office that are 70 and 80 years old. What's your thought about passing the baton to the next generation, or at least grooming the next generation?
Well, I think the latter. We have to groom the next generation of leaders. I'm 65. I have a colleague that's 75. I think at 65 and 75, we are better suited and better prepared to help our communities, because a lot of the young folks coming in now have not been groomed. They have no visions. They don't know how to be a leader yet. So
you're right.
But
yeah, we have to do a better job of preparing folks to come into these elected positions. And again, we got to work with them. I mean, and so for me, we got to identify those who are interested in serving. And then we got to help them along the way, take me to work with you, whatever. But we have got to do a better job of preparing our next generation of leaders.
Well, I'll tell you this.
I'm answering your question.
Yeah, that's good. But what I want to say this, because we the same age, Bruce.
Okay.
We the same age. So I'm gonna tell you this. This is what I've seen, and it's the biggest problem. When those young people come in, they often differ in their perspective of how they see a situation. And people our age tend to try to be dismissive towards that point of view, instead of saying, well, let me pass along my knowledge you can take that and bundle it with what you're trying to do. And we need to learn, we seniors need to learn how to be okay with that. And many of us aren't. You know, this is something. Go ahead.
No, I totally agree. They call me Unc in Tallahassee because they say I'm always trying to tell them what to do and how to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so most of them don't care for me, but they respect me because they know I'm really trying to help them learn the process. I'm really trying to help them navigate the process. I'm really trying to say, if you do it this way, you'll have a little bit more success than the way you're doing it. And so I know for me, I mean, it's just in me to try to help my colleagues. Because if I help them, then communities like me succeed. But not everybody's like that.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. Hey, well, respectfully, here's something else I want to lay on you. And I say this respectfully, and I do mean it as a criticism. I do. I'll say it right now. I mean it as a criticism for us to get better. But Miami-Dade, Broward, Hillsborough, Palm Beach, Orange County, Duval County, and Pinellas County. Those are the largest 7 municipalities in the state of Florida based on population and based on revenue. You're familiar with me when I served in different capacities, working for governors, traveling the state, working with local communities. Just based on my experience, man, I will tell you, St. Petersburg, Florida, Broward County, Jacksonville, those are places that I can tell you that when I looked at the leadership in those communities, they were able to mobilize and come together, and they stayed together on some singular issues and didn't fall apart, and they accomplished the task. In some other places, it may have started out on those singular issues, but the minute there was a deal to be made, everybody started breaking up, and it diminished the value of benefit the community. So what have you seen from the seat that you sit in? Because your vantage point, you've seen it all over the place.
I have seen exactly what you say. The way the leadership of a community maximizes its potential is somebody has to take the lead role, and others have to be willing to follow whoever that leader is. Let me give you an example. We have a mayor here in Orange County. So all of us should be rowing in the same direction as the mayor of Orange County. And if we did that, and I'm not saying anybody's rowing in an opposite direction, but what I'm saying, if we all rowed in the same direction, we could achieve some monumental change.
Yeah.
Other communities, they have a greater mass of Black folks, a greater mass of Black leaders, and their religious leaders also know how to coalesce and row in the same direction. So we've got to get to that point here in Orange County, and I think we will. But it's going to take a little bit of time.
But I pray that we will. But I look at where we're at right now, and I hate to start saying, in my lifetime, I hope we get there. And you said something really important. And Doc Polite, I'm going to pass the baton to you because I know this is one of your favorite subjects. But Representative Anton, I will say to you, because Doc often, I'm not going to say he criticizes me, but we go to war sometimes when we talk about faith leaders and their role in communities. And I believe that they have a place in leadership and a role in the communities because they have places that the masses are coming to. They have influence. We have to get to a point where everybody can't lead. Those great leaders need to learn how to follow. And so I hope that we get there before my lifetime is over. But I'll say this, I haven't damn seen it yet.
Well, they too busy flying on wires and having concerts and invisible see-through.
Talk about Drewski.
No. And listen, he did that skit based on a pastor wiring themselves up, 2 of them up there in Atlanta, flying over the congregation and all this foolishness. See, it's not. I'm not against. There's a line in a rap song called say, "We're not against rappers, but we are against those thugs."
Yeah.
We're not against pastors, but we are against those pulpit pimps. And that's the thing, because first of all, it's a moral leadership thing. You need to be framing yourself and framing the message of being morally grounded. You can't do anything else. That's your first job. Your first job is to be a moral compass. We don't have, and that's what we're sorely missing. People don't want to say that in our community. We don't have no morals anymore.
But I'm gonna come back full circle. I'm gonna come back full circle because Rep is in the capacity that they're creating policy, they're advocating for appropriations, and one of the things that I learned from Representative Anton, and I'm gonna go ahead and share this with you. When I see my phone ring sometime and it's somebody that I haven't heard from and I don't know how long, the first thing that comes to my mind is, what do they want? And Rep, you said it best. You're able to navigate because you build relationships. You don't wait till it's time for the session to come around for you to say, I need this for my constituents.
Right.
We got to get past all that. And then it should not be any shame. I'm going to say this. It should not be any shame for.
Listen. Let me say this. I hope Bruce remember this, because me and Bruce were together one time over on Mercy Drive. And I don't know if you remember this, Bruce, but somebody called Bruce and cussed him out about an issue that Bruce had no control over. And this is what he has had to deal with, because that's how we treat our Black leaders. We don't see them until we got a complaint, and then we want to attack them.
Yeah.
We haven't built any goodwill with them. And I told Bruce, I said, you better than me. Because I would have got in my car and I said, you know what? Hold on. I'm coming over here. We do this face to face.
But Bruce, Representative Anton, you remember Senator Wise, right?
Yeah.
Stephen Wise out of Jacksonville?
Right.
He said to me once, he said, Rod, a lot of people that you see serving in the legislature, they're not serving because they just woke up one day and say, oh, I want to be a House representative, I want to be a senator. He said somebody pissed them off to make them run. So what was your reason, Rep, what was your reason for running?
My reason really started way back in college with a dream, listening to Julian Bonds and Jesse Jackson and folk like that, right? And so I came here and I met a group of Black men, a little bit older than me. This is way back in 1990. And we were talking about, man, taking over the Black community, right? We were going to become the new leaders. And we eventually all fell apart. We fell apart because everybody wanted to be a leader, right?
Oh, man.
But this white guy called me and said, hey, man, I need somebody Black to come work on my campaign. And that person was Buddy Dyer. And I went to work for him. And he kind of let me run his office. We had some stuff in common. We were both engineers. And I learned a lot from him. And then I said, let me run for office. And I lost twice before I won. But for me, the burning desire was to take what I had learned working for Buddy Dyer and to try to make change in the community. And so that's kind of how I got to where I am. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tell both of y'all this, and Doc, I'll pass it back to you. One of the things that got me to Orlando is when I was graduating college. You know how you go to career opportunities, and they'll tell you geographically what's on the rise, where the next place to be is at. And so they said Orlando, Florida. This is back in '99. They said Orlando, Florida is going to be the next Atlanta. So I made a beeline to come to Orlando. And when I got here, I saw people that looked like me that was very progressive in high positions, if you would. And when I say high positions, decision-making positions. And so I felt forward and I said, all right, this is the place to be. But as time is going on, and I say this, man, and I say this unapologetically, it appeared that individuals that looked like me was shaming us in terms of providing opportunity. I'm not saying hire folk to look like me for the sake of hiring folk, but look at the qualifications, look at the work that's being put in, and on the face of it, it was almost like we were more shameful to make those decisions. But then on the other side of that, I grew up in Miami. Hispanics had no problem identifying folks who had the credentials and made them decision makers. And you see, a generation has passed and that has continued. That's something that I'm looking at Orlando, Central Florida. Where has that gone? I don't know.
It was never here. But Representative Anthony, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
What has been the most frustrating thing of your political career for you to deal with?
The lack of unity, the lack of people working together. And then, my motto, if you talk to me, they say, man, how you doing today? I say, man, I'm just trying to stay out of black folks' way, right? Because, man, the vitriol that comes at you sometimes, man, is discouraging. And you can't get stuff done because, man, it's like you driving down the street and they done stole a bunch of stops from law enforcement and they just throwing them out in the street in front of you. So I hope I'm answering your question, but that is it. We can never sit down, and I'm not making this personal, but it's frustrating because we're gonna have to work together. And maybe it's not me, but the next generation is gonna have to work together. That's the only way the change is going to come about.
You got to have a shadow staff, You need a shadow staff to take care of them problems.
There is one thing I do know about you, even though your history here precedes mine, but you were one of the founding members, if I recollect correctly, based on what I've heard from different, what they say, OGs. But you're one of the founding members of the AACCC, and Doc, AACCC stands for what?
African American Christian Clergy.
Yeah, it was actually my idea.
Yeah,
it was actually my idea.
Yeah.
How many years back does that go?
Well, I started eating breakfast with the pastors at Red Barbecue in 1990, and we finally formed that group in January of 1993.
Man.
And so I was the only non-minister in the group.
Boy, that's a long time ago. Because I don't even think you know about Reds, Rod.
I don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rod, everybody used to eat at Red Barbecue right there on Old Winter Garden Road. And, that's where all the movers and shakers went at. I mean, everybody downtown.
Hey, to the both of you, here's something I'm going to say, and I hope that it's welcome. I hope that people take this. But when we had a lot of tragedy that was taking place, during George Floyd and some other situations that took place, and Attorney Greg Jackson and myself, we hosted a forum at the Crown Hotel right there on 50. And we invited community leaders, and the majority of those community leaders happened to be pastors. And we had a room of about 100 people in that room. And I actually thought, this is the Orlando that I left Youngstown State to come to Orlando for, because the synergy, energy, and people actually saying, I don't have to be the leader. If you got an expertise in this, then we're going to get behind you. It actually was moving in that direction. And then all you had to do was give it 3 months, 4 months, and it dissipated. What I'm saying is, and I don't need to be the leader, whoever is out there that's willing to give up their time, and of course, Attorney Jackson and I, we've given up our time and will gladly do it, but I'm getting older. My time is far more valuable now, but we see tourist development tax dollars that the hotels generate, and it is an economic engine in this community. And I will take my hat off to what they're doing. But I'm also looking at this other thing that the city of Orlando does. It's a festival that they give the local community that's impacted by it $65,000 a year, and it's about 10 homeowners association. Rep, you might know what I'm talking about. And they give like $3,000, $4,000 to these people. Hey,
that's big. You're talking about the Electric Daisy Carnival.
That's it. Hey, here's what I will say. I'm surprised that, we have, and I'm not going to call this one entity, but they're in all of the local communities that the property values are so low. You look at this thing with the town of Eatonville now, there's a lot going on. But why don't one of us step up to say we can create economic engines and revenue builders for everything else but us? When is somebody going to step up and do that?
White folks' ice is colder than black folks' ice. You just need to remember that. And that is why we falter every time. We cannot gain momentum because they go turn to the other folks who they think their ice is colder and and it's not colder. So I'm gonna shut up. I didn't mean to say that, but I said it.
Well, you telling the truth. And we see it constantly across the spectrum within our community. They will come to you, okay, and say, hey, I'm gonna pay you $11. No, you're not gonna pay me $11. You're gonna pay me $25 like everybody else do. Right. And here come Leroy. Leroy say, man, don't listen to him. I do it for $7. We constantly do that in our community, and we don't understand that's what you call driving the cost down. So right. if I can go to 10 community groups and give them $3,000 a piece, and they happy with that, why would I spend millions of dollars? And that's it. We have no infrastructure we own. We have no capital with which to build our own. So we're beggars. But nobody likes a beggar.
And Doc, you hit it right on the head. But let me say this, because our time is winding down. But let me say this, and I say this respectfully. The opportunities that have been afforded to me, I would say first and foremost, I thank God Almighty for those blessings that He bestowed upon me. But I will also say this: it has been white people that have presented opportunities in front of me. And some I've succeeded at, some I've failed at, but they've created opportunities for me that I've been able to employ people. I've been able to create a business. And the sad part about this is we're sitting here at a day and age, whether you agree or disagree about the DEI eliminations and things of that nature, I find more challenges with coming to the table with all the competencies that I have, and I'm talking to people that's sitting across the table that look like me, and not for the fact that they look like me, but for the fact that what I'm presenting to them has merit. I can't even get in the door. So when we talk about having opportunities to get into the boardrooms, goddamn, let's get into the boardrooms with somebody. Come on.
Yeah. Let me say this. Again, Buddy Dyer was my mentor, and he opened up a whole lot of doors for me, even in Tallahassee. It has been the Republican leadership that makes sure I get what I need for the community, right?
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. So I'm gonna touch on something just real quick. Eatonville. I was trying to create a renaissance in Eatonville with that Black History Museum. I had a plan to develop the property and all of that. And the person that borrowed my idea for the museum is the person they ended up working the deal over in Eatonville now. And I'm gonna say this. So this particular person that I met with the leadership over there, they would cry and say, I just wanted white folks to come take over Eatonville. I said, no, somebody gonna take it over. Now you can either make sure that the community benefits or they're gonna be left by the side of the road. And I mean, if you've been reading the news, you see where we are.
Man.
But again,
you know, I always wonder why the people of Edenville have failed to have a vision for it. It is so much to capitalize on, and I just chalk it up to ignorance. Everybody in the town too ignorant to get out their own way. And y'all can tell them and I said that. Dr. Polite said that. Edenville.
Hey, now I gotta do the disclaimer, Representative Anton. I gotta do the disclaimer about the views and opinions of Dr. Polite don't reflect.
And they are mine, and I will say it.
Rep, let me say this to you, because you're familiar with my father-in-law, Reverend Pastor Richard King. He constantly says, if we just get the meat out of the way and put weed in the game, we can see how we can work our way through. And that's the same thing Doc talks about all the time as well. But Rep, we really appreciate you and spending this time with us. We pray for success for you during the legislative session, because your success means your constituents benefit. And I got to just tell you, and I know I speak for Doc and I speak for Attorney Greg Jackson and myself, it is an honor and a privilege to call you friend. And I'm proud that when you see my number come up on your phone, it ain't just because I wrote something, it's because we got a relationship.
Hey, and real quick, so our friendship started in Pine Hills trying to get that Sunland Hospital removed. I don't know if you remember that. You were the chair of the committee. And the logo of getting things done quietly, it worked for Buddy Dyer. It just didn't work for me, right? That was his logo. And then, Dr. Polite, you and I should go to lunch or breakfast, and I can finish this discussion. I can dot all the I's and cross all the T's for you.
Definitely. When you get back to town, let me know and we'll meet up. You know.
All right.
I don't live down there no more, but I'll come down there.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
He done moved out to the villages. He done moved out to the villages.
Wow.
Hey, Representative Anton, they cussed me out so bad over there in Carver Court, I just left town.
I understand. I've been through all of that.
Hey, Representative, but seriously, we really, man, appreciate you. We respect you. Anytime you need our help, man, and I say this unconditionally, please call on us, man, because we look at the work that you're putting in, and we know your heart is in the right place. And
yeah, exactly.
You're consistent with what you say and what you do. So once again, man, love you, brother. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, man. Y'all have a good evening.
All right.
All right. Good night.
All right. Good night. Hey, Doc, man. Representative Anton, man. That is
always a breath of fresh air and a truth teller. You know, that's the one thing about Bruce. You can disagree with him. He's not going to take it personal, and he's still going to reach out and work with you. It's not to. I think Bruce is one of those people where it's bigger than him. Yeah, and he understands that. So it's never animosity or dislike. It may just be a disagreement, but he's willing to always listen and hear you out.
And Doc, you hit on all cylinders, but Representative Anton, man, he's effective. I mean, talking about conversation, and this is not by any means, man, to shame anybody. I want everybody to up their game. But what I will say, and you know, I'm over the hill, man, so I guess I could just say this and keep moving, and hopefully it'll change what we see in front of us. But you know what? We got to do better by us before we can do better by anybody else.
And that's so true. And I want to just clarify my Edenville. It's the reason I said that. I was friends with Mayor Bruce Martin, and I got to see the stress and the anguish that this man went through trying to lead that town. So, you know, when you see behind the curtain, you come away with a very different perspective on what's going on.
They say if you want to go ahead, Doc. I get what you're saying, but they say if you want to see laws that are actually executed, all you have to do is like making sausage.
Yeah,
behind the scene, and it's not a pretty picture.
And I know because I saw the pettiness and the vindictiveness that this man had to endure when people could have easily said, let's hold hands, let's walk together. So,
but Doc, and I'll say to you, and I'm gonna go ahead and log us off because we're getting to that point. But anybody who goes into public office, just know that it's not a pretty picture. Just know that you're gonna have tough skin, and know that every day, and I say this literally, every day you fight something. So with that being said, Doc Polite, brother, you know I love you. I appreciate you. And man, once again, another night, another episode of Let's Talk Nation. Armando, brother, keep up the great work. You've been with us day one. And for those of you who are viewing Let's Talk Nation, tune in next week.
you ain't got to go home.
But you got to get out of here. We'll see y'all next week on Let's Talk Nation.